Welcome to SAT TV's news. I am Shanna Esprit, your presenter. In our top stories, stiffer punishments needed to deter crime, bold breezes through crash course in Russian, Xinjiang violence, 2 sentenced to death in China, and in sports, Jamaica and Trinidad to contest finals of West Indies Women's Super 50. Details of these will follow.
Music is life, you don't know. And I'm all set and ready to blow. I got some places up there I wanna see. It's gonna be irate, yeah. So put your hand in the air just for me. I want it up for the world to see, 'cause I wanted you and me's a fire. I'll bring the flame. It's gonna be irate, yeah. Boom, this is Mr. Nye, and you're listening and watching SAT Telecoms. Boom!
Welcome back. Following the 6th Nature Island Literary Festival and Book Fair 2013 that began on Friday, August 9th and continued into the weekend, Honorable Peter Seja, Minister for Education, says we need to foster and develop a number of poets for the near future. He urged the student population throughout Dominica, generally the youth, to take advantage of literary opportunities and advise them to attend organized activities for literary development.
I also wish to welcome the community outreach element of the festival this year. I note that the closing event schedule for the Merrill Beach is a creative way of getting local communities involved in the festival. I am confident that this will serve to inspire the local residents and budding writers and poets in that community. This, I believe, should be continued in future. Also, this initiative is testimony that the literary arts are not just the domain of the educated of our society.
Many of our writers and poets throughout the Caribbean began from humble beginnings, he stated. Mr. Seja believes that defining and promoting Caribbean identity is a common factor in much of our Caribbean writing. He said the often repeated phrase, "the pen is mightier than the sword," is extremely applicable to our Caribbean literature, social, and political landscape.
The late Aimé Césaire of Martinique. Césaire, like his compatriot, the late Franz Fanon, used the power of literature, the power of the pen, to shake the ideological and the political foundations of colonial oppression, and to define the ideological, philosophical, and political positions of the black man, of subjugated populations in the then world.
The minister stated that we have the example of Edward Oliver Leblanc. He was a writer, poet, and a politician who transformed the political, social, and economic landscape here in Dominica.
In Trinidad, we have the example of Dr. Eric Williams, and in Jamaica, the Manleys. Thus, these people such as Césaire, Leblanc, Williams, and others, such as Dr. Walter Rodney, C.L.R. James, Derek Walcott, and Lamin, they do serve as mentors.
It is Mr. Seja's hope that the interest in literature will grow drastically amongst the youth. In more news, an Emsall resident was affected by a fallen boulder from the heights of Kings Hill while she slept on July 31st at approximately 1:15 a.m. in the morning. All attempts to remove the boulder seemed futile, as the equipment was either not available or too exorbitant to hire. Mrs. Francis described the ordeal as frightening, as the boulder missed her neighbor's house by less than a yard.
The rock passed a little less than a yard from my neighbor's house, okay? And the top of her house is wooden. And if that stone had gone 1 yard more, I don't know what would have happened.
Although the authorities relating to natural disasters have not responded to Mrs. Francis' plight, she is only concerned that the incident may occur again and cause more damage to other properties.
My biggest worry is if another rock that size is hanging there, you know. But really it is not shocking, it is disgusting, really disgusting that Public Works Department in a country does not have one piece of equipment that can lift a big stone, and you have to go to a private person. So when there are landslides and things like that, what does it cost the government to clear the road if they're charging $1,700 to carry one piece of rock?
She is still waiting for someone to assess the area to ensure that there are no other rocks that might be a threat to the people in the area. In other news, Dean of Education Merrill Matthew and lecturers Thomas Bell, Sharon Alicock Joseph and Valda Joseph are now much better equipped to lead in the design of a new agribusiness vocational qualification program at the Dominica State College. The group has just returned from a 20-day tour in Nova Scotia and Ottawa to familiarize themselves with multiple approaches to instruction for vocational qualifications and to farming by Canada's leading entrepreneurs in agriculture. Mr. Matthews says this study forms part of an ongoing partnership between the DSC, Dalhousie University School of Agriculture, and the University of Guelph-Kemptville campus to design a Level 3 agribusiness vocational qualification to serve the current need for a more productive and economically competitive agricultural sector in Dominica and the wider region.
The project, which was launched in Dominica sometime earlier this year, is to the tune of 440,000 Canadian dollars, and we are trying to get the best that we can out of it. In trying to get the best out of it, we recognize as a college that if we were privy to some of the things that are happening at the university, it would help us in moving forward to prepare a quality curriculum in agribusiness.
They received experience curriculum in preparation. There were several round-table discussions on best practice for teaching agribusiness, which Mr. Matthews strongly believes is the driving methodology for the delivery of vocational qualifications.
The farm visits were particularly to entrepreneurs, in many cases young people in Canada who saw opportunities in different areas, both in animal husbandry and in agronomy, to do business. And they grabbed the business and ran with it, and they are doing very well in the business. Now, this is what Dominica State College would like to see in our graduates. We would like to see graduates who are not dependent upon government for a job, who are not dependent on other farmers for a job. We would like to see graduates who, upon graduation, develop their own agribusiness.
DSC's present agriculture program is mainly geared towards students who want to pursue further education in agriculture. He noted that the exposure the lecturers have had on this 20-day tour is bound to have an impact on their teachings.
Because they have seen new technologies in operation. And clearly, I expect the two lecturers, in discussion with the dean of the faculty, to then say, here are some things we learned while we visited the various farms in Canada. I think this can have an impact on the current group of students whom we have. And so that exposure that education, that experience is bound to have an impact on the current lecturers who were part of the mission.
Ms. Valda Joseph said the tour enabled her to observe practices at the Canadian institution. We realized that the universities are linked with the industries, and we realized that this is missing in Dominica.
We have to get the link, or we have to be married to industry, because industry can tell us what they need. We as the lecturers, we could go to the classrooms, we could do the basics with the students and take a knowledge-based approach on what they should know. But the industry needs to tell us what is required, what the students should know. So we want to take that project into a competency-based project where our students, after completing 2 years at the Dominica State College, they could go on and be competent in whatever job that they will be employed in. Or what we want to drive or take them to is create their own jobs.
The aim is to attract students from secondary schools, farmers, and anyone interested in taking an entrepreneurship agribusiness course. In other news, Minister of National Security, Labor and Immigration, Honorable Charles Savre, is of the view that one way of dealing with crime in Dominica is by issuing harsher punishments to criminals through the judicial system.
If there is the view, either one, that you will escape detection by the police, or two, if you are caught, that you will in fact receive a light sentence from the courts, then you feel that you can come out on top. But if you have the certainty or the near certainty that you will be caught by the police, that you will be prosecuted in the courts, and that if you're found guilty, you will in fact receive a very stiff sentence, then I believe you will have second thoughts of seeking to be involved in that type of activity, because you know if you're caught, you have to say farewell to your parents and your loved ones for an exceedingly long period of time.
Many persons, he said, are taking huge risks to engage in criminal activities. Therefore, major restrictions need to be put in place at the courts. The magistrates and the judges need to administer sentences that reflect the value of the society, he added. Stricter punishments are a must.
I mean, let us understand that the police will apprehend, but the police do not punish. That is not the responsibility of the police. The police will gather intelligence, they will mount operations, they will apprehend, they will charge. Then the matter is brought before the court. The person's charge will be defended. The charge may not be proved, and then they're found not guilty. That is fine. That is the system. However, where the charges are proved and they are found guilty, I think that the punishment should be severe. And that is all within the purview of the courts. The police, the Ministry of National Security have no influence on the punishment. That is within the purview of the courts. And
Mr. Savre said the courts need to be a partner of the state in taking control of crime in this country. He believes a lot of crimes that are committed have a direct impact on society and the economy of any country. So ensuring it is under control is vital, though one crime committed is too many, especially for Dominica.
But I can't give instructions to the magistrate. You know the Constitution talks about the separation of powers, the independence of the judiciary, which I recognize and respect. So I can't give instructions to magistrates and to judges and things of that nature. But what I'm saying is that when a society is faced with a problem, all the agents of the society have to play their part. And the courts have to play their part in sending a message to those who would indulge and engage in these activities that is not acceptable in the society.
He added, anyone who witnessed any suspicious activity as it relates to crime should report it to the police. In more stories, one of the founding members of the United Workers' Party, Honorable Norris Prevost, who has devoted 25 years to the development of Dominica and his constituency Roseau Central, will not be contesting the next general elections, constitutionally due in 2015. However, he says his talents and expertise will be fully available to guide the new professionals within the party.
Certainly, Norris Prevost. I'm one of the founding members of the United Workers' Party, founding secretary. I have been contributing to this party for 25 years. My talent will fully be available to continue to help to guide the new professionals in the United Workers' Party, the new leaders, whether the national level or the constituency level. In the context of the Roseau Central constituency, tomorrow our constituency is meeting and we will take our final decision as to our candidate for this election. But I want to assure the people of Roseau and Greater Roseau that my talent and my contribution and my work will be continuing for the development of Dominica, the development of the Greater Roseau area, and the development of the United Workers' Party.
The members of the United Workers' Party are currently restructuring and implementing new ideas which will foster confidence from both its supporters and non-supporters. You've been a part of the United Workers' Party for quite a number of years.
For as much as 25 years.
25 years.
Yes, from foundation.
Okay. Can you tell us what the United Workers' Party has in store for the development of Dominica for the upcoming elections?
United Workers' Party has very, very concrete and clear plans for reviving Dominica's economy and creating jobs. Our plan, the United Workers' Party plan, much of which we presented in the Parliament at the last budget, consists of cutting taxes, especially income taxes, investing in the production sector to grow the economy and to create jobs. In a nutshell, that is the United Workers' Party plan.
Mr. Prevost revealed that the United Workers' Party has proposals for concrete jobs in the tourism sector right here in our capital.
We have brought plans forward to create up to 500 jobs between upgrading the Botanic Gardens, modernizing it, creating a water park in the Botanic Gardens, shifting next year from the Bayfront to some other location and using the Dexia building to create small businesses in duty-free, upgrading the Roseau market to create it into an agro-tourism market, and the Bayfront itself, creating some additional facilities there for the vendors.
These proposals alone can create approximately 500 sustainable jobs, according to Mr. Prevost. The United Workers' Party's aim is to focus on special areas of tourism, including health and wellness, as well as eco and agro-tourism. More news. In an effort to ease the congestion on the bus stop which serves Point Michel and Loubet bus drivers, Mayor of Roseau, His Worship Cecil Joseph, is suggesting that the bus stop be separated. He noted since the Loubet area has less bus drivers, he would leave them where they are currently located on King George V Street, while the Point Michel bus stop would be relocated to Castle Street behind the Domlec's office.
Because what is now happening is, I've observed that the buses, there's so many buses now between Loubet and Point Michel that they're now using on the other side of the road, and which can be ticketed by the police, and I think it's really unfair. It's really unfair to the bus driver to receive a ticket, knowing that he's trying to make a living and there isn't sufficient space. And make it worse, if you look more west of the terminal or the bus stop, that you'll see a sign that makes provision for the business house on the other side. So when you look, you have an area that can only cover between 9 to 10 buses, but you have about 20-25 buses ready for the area. So you find guys will use Castle across street, or guys will use the first domestic insurance area, and then actually making the use of the road narrow.
He said the issue, although previously discussed with the traffic board, needs to be put on the table again so action can be taken on what he considered to be a good idea to solve an increasing problem.
It's becoming a nuisance where you have bus drivers having to really fend for themselves, and they have a right to really fend for themselves, and we find that they're quarreling. That's not very healthy, especially that we are now doubling ourselves as a major eye looking for tourists to assist us in our development. So yes, this is a concern I have. I also know that there is also a small concern for the Sophia Scott said bus terminal. That also I addressed. I believe it is now high time that we put the proper motion in place. As the mayor of the city, I believe that some kind of order has to happen, but I also believe that we must work alongside with the other authorities, or the other authorities can work with us.
Mr. Joseph says it is time that all authorities work together. The mayor says he is disappointed that this idea, which could have been solved in 4 weeks, still remains unsolved after a year. Other stories: motorists are being advised that the road will be closed from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. daily due to ongoing roadworks in the Stock Farm area leading up to the Dominica State College. Public Relations Officer at Dowasco, Mr. Edward Registe, says the company will be working on the connection of the sewage line for the new Dominica State College, and work is expected to last over a 6-week period. The project, which began on Monday, August 12th, is expected to affect the residents of Bellevue, Stock Farm, and Yampis, and motorists who traverse the area on a daily basis.
There will be excavation works from the entrance of the Dominica State College all the way down to the Simon Bolivar housing scheme in Stock Farm. It will require excavation of about 1,600 feet for the laying of pipes to facilitate that connection. And so the contractor has indicated that the road will be closed for the undertaking of that project, and that will go on for the next several weeks, between 5 to 6 weeks. So the schedule is broken down into 2 shifts daily. What we will see is that from 9 o'clock this morning until 4 o'clock this afternoon, the road will be closed. And again from 7 o'clock tonight until 3 a.m. tomorrow morning. And that pattern will be followed for the next several weeks.
The cooperation of the public is vital, he said, as the road needs to be closed to facilitate the excavation work in the area. The road will reopen between the shifts to allow persons to traverse the area. There will also be allocations made for the students of the college to gain access to the compound for the new school year beginning September. Mr. Registe is urging all pedestrians and residents of the area not to interfere with the work being carried out during that time. Other stories: 28 persons from the Afrikulture Stilt Walkers Inc., otherwise known as Bois, have participated in the crop over celebrations in Barbados from July 28th to August 7th. Members, parents, and friends revel in the summer's sweetest festival, aimed to preserve one of the many cultural art forms among young persons, with an avenue for its continued development. The registered non-profit organization was formed in 1996 to carry on with the West African tradition of stilt walking during annual carnival events and other celebratory times of the year, including Independence, World Creole Music Festival, Christmas, and cricket events. According to one of the walkers, Dowane Charles, it was most fitting this time around since it culminated with Emancipation Day activities in Barbados. Dowane said, however, what he found most challenging was the distance they had to walk compared to the usual walking distance in Dominica.
The distance which we had to walk, the distance is actually 6 miles of walking. So from the first, it was like they did it in segments, so like the first mile. So we did the first mile, we went down for we went down for 4 miles, then we walked the last 7 miles to the where they had big event. Yeah, we did a performance, like first mile. After the first mile, there was a performance in a stadium, which we did a spectacular display, of a routine we put together. Then for the remainder, we sat down for a bit because of the children, we had to make them rest a little bit after walking an entire mile. Then we went back up and walked the remaining 2 miles.
The young man believes Stilt walking is an enjoyable event and urges those interested to join the group. The group accepts children from 5 years and over.
Just come along, you'll get it. Don't worry. Like me, I was like shy. For me, it was a self-esteem booster because not anyone can do Stilt walking. So once you come along, first couple times you'll be scared. You'll have the doubts in your mind that you can't do it, but stick to it, persevere, and you shall get it.
Group leader Mr. Ferdinand Webster said traveling to Barbados was a great experience. He noted what made it so unique was the fact that it was new to the group and the challenge of the walking distance. Mr. Webster believes that their group had the best costume and will have even better ones for the 2014 Independence and Carnival seasons. According to him, stilt walking is not dangerous because individuals are taught everything that they need to know, including how to fall.
It can look dangerous, but not dangerous to the extreme, because we train people for everything. We train them to fall, we train them to dance. So basically it's not that hard to say it's dangerous. But you have to be drug free to up there. If you know you're somebody grown up at drinking alcohol, forget about it at the time. You can come, you can walk, you can be part of the group. The group is a wide family. We take everybody to join the group, but just remember, don't come on the stilts with alcohol in your system because it's not good. And we train to fall, and you might surprise you make a complete whole wrong in tongue of 3 rounds and you're okay.
The group practices on Tuesdays in the Botanical Gardens, and interested persons can contact Mr. Webster or Mrs. Dewhurst on telephone numbers 245-2782 or 440-3278.
We practice not every Tuesday. Practice never stop. We don't take no summer break. We go right into it. So we're practicing every Tuesdays at 4 o'clock. If they come 5 o'clock, we'll be still at the gardens practicing next to the bamboo house area. Once you come up that area, they will see us there. Registration is just $5. We give them a registration form to fill in, and from there we'll tell them what they need to get, and we go to go.
And in court news, 2 young ladies from the normally quiet village of Kings Hill stirred up some excitement on Friday, August 9th, when they attracted a crowd during a fight. Following the incident, 18-year-old Zenith Germain of Kings Hill was charged with battery and throwing missiles, while 22-year-old Yakima Williams was charged with battery and disorderly conduct. When they appeared before Roseau Magistrate Candia George, they both pled guilty to the charges. According to the facts of the case, police officers were on mobile patrol in Kings Hill at about 11:30 p.m. when they noticed a commotion on the road and saw the young ladies groping each other. Germain then took a stone and struck Williams on her stomach, and while one of the officers spoke to Germain, Williams rushed onto her. The young ladies were cautioned and transported to the Roseau police station. In mitigation, Germain apologized for her conduct, and Williams also apologized about the incident. Magistrate Candia George reprimanded and discharged the young ladies and instructed them to conduct themselves properly in the future. She also advised them that employers look at police records, and having a tarnished record can work against them. This has been the local segment of the news. Coming up next, regional highlights.